So let's go through the function of the pelvic floor and why it's so important. The pelvic floor is integral to our health and our body and our wellness, and it does some obvious things and does some least obvious things. The first thing that may not be as obvious is that the pelvic floor actually helps our stability. It helps our strength of our inner core muscles, and that in turn helps our posture and how we stand and how we feel. When we're doing normal activities day to day, such as lifting up something heavy or moving, our pelvic floor naturally switches on with our abdominal muscles to give us that support. Weakness in our pelvic floor can affect how we feel without us even realizing it. It can be that it doesn't support us with our abdominal muscles, and we can be more likely to have bad posture, or we can have weakness around the hips and back, maybe resulting in any form of pain. The second function of the pelvic floor is to be the floor of our pelvis. It supports our abdominal organs, which you can imagine is really important. It is there for sexual function and sexual enjoyment. And one of the other main things is that it really helps our bladder and our bowel function. And a weakness in the pelvic floor can result in fecal, so bowel incontinence. So when we are kind of allowing our bowels to overflow without having any control, it can result in urinary incontinence, which can be when we're leaking or we feel that we're wetting ourselves outside of our control. And that can be divided into different areas, but very simply, there can be stress incontinence, which is when, if we're coughing or sneezing, everything is having a little bit of a leak or even jumping, and a bit more something called urgency incontinence, which is when we cannot hold our wee in and then we feel that we're going to leak. The other thing that can happen with weakness around the pelvic floor is prolapse, and we can have a vaginal prolapse, or we can have an anal prolapse depending on what's happening. So they are the main functions of the pelvic floor. It's really important in our ability to feel healthy and well in ourselves. Our pelvic floor also naturally kicks in when we breathe, and it's important as part of that rhythm. And you will hear more about that on the section of breathing and how that links with pelvic floor health.